When you think back to some of your favorite games from the days of yore, there's a good chance a few rumors and myths come to mind. Usually, the further back you go, especially in the pre-internet days, the more likely you are to encounter a crazy theory or two swirling about. Once upon a time, the forces behind Game Sleuth worked tirelessly as they covered many different myths and mysteries surrounding your favorite video game series for a popular show featured on a now defunct website. This included the Legend of Zelda series, and no installment was featured more on that show than the N64 classic, Ocarina of Time. Whether it was tall tales of obtaining the Triforce, unfreezing Zora's domain, or ominous chanting edited out of the Fire Temple, Ocarina of Time perplexed fans during its heyday with countless myths that were simply too good to be true. Yet above all others, there is one that simply refuses to die, despite the evidence. No matter how carefully you scour the community, there are those who adamantly believe that one specific feat is within the realm of possibility. Some fans swear that you, the player, can defeat the infamous NPC known only as the Running Man, no relation to the film, in a side quest called the Commemorative Race, a race that begins in Gerudo Valley and ends in the Lost Woods. This is a quest you are destined to lose. Your defeat is coded into the game. Despite your best efforts, the Running Man will always beat you by 1 second. But it's easy to assume there might be a way to win. In the back alleys of old fan sites and message boards, passionate fans have speculated about possible ways to beat the Running Man. Fans have gone to great lengths to try to beat him, including using hacks and cheats, but they always come up short. Naturally, crazy theories and suspect evidence crept out of the woodwork, altered photos, and unbelievable stories that simply sound too good to be true. But back in 2009, someone presented video evidence that proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that they had unlocked the secret method to winning the race. It's time to turn the magnifying glass on this mystery and focus on the facts. The Running Man myth existed long before the days of YouTube, and quite frankly, it's the most persistent rumor to come from Ocarina of Time. Back in the day, all it took was a well-doctored screen grab to fan the flames of discussion, but once it became easier to upload video evidence, well, things began to get interesting. Time and time again, a newcomer would claim to have found a method of beating the Running Man, starting the whole debate anew. It all came to a head back in 2009 when a user on YouTube named Rusty Sporks uploaded a clip from Ocarina of Time which appeared to show visual proof of a victory. According to the video description, Rusty Sporks used the following steps to achieve this feat. First, challenge the Running Man to a race as Adult Link. Then go to the Temple of Time and travel back in time to become Young Link. Make your way to the bridge at the entrance of the Lost Woods and wait for 7 years to pass in-game, which is about a week in real time. After enough time elapses, Young Link will transform into Adult Link. The Running Man will then appear, only this time, you finally beat him. After viewing the evidence, there are two immediate red flags. First, the video is captured on an emulator, which isn't always indicative of shenanigans, but coupled with the second red flag, the fact that the video skips over the supposed key part of the method, you can see why people have their doubts. Rather than doing a time-lapse, or at least leaving in any visual evidence of young Link waiting on the bridge and transforming into Adult Link after 7 years' time, all we get is a jump cut to the payoff. Highly suspect indeed. But Rusty Sporks didn't stop there. Over a year after the video was posted in January of 2009, the channel posted a follow-up video claiming that, by using this method to beat the Running Man, they had successfully found the long-lost Sky Temple through another set of glitches and tricks. Getting under the ice in the frozen iteration of Zora's domain in the Adult Link period is a well-documented glitch, and there's nothing of importance to find once you head down there. Yet Rusty Sporks' video shows otherwise, that a cut piece of content still resides within the game's code. You just have to access it. This may sound like an elaborate hoax, but if you explained how to access something similar, for example, how to reach the Chris Houlihan room, which required the use of glitches and other tricks to enter a room supposedly left on the cutting room floor, you'd probably say it was a farce. Yet that one actually turned out to be true, so why couldn't this, as ridiculous as it sounds, be possible as well? For the sake of being thorough, we tested the steps outlined by Rusty Sporks on a physical copy of Ocarina of Time. As we suspected, nothing happened. In fact, after 4 minutes of time elapsed, the race was ended. We then resorted to alternative means for the sake of testing the theory about waiting for 7 in-game years by using an emulator and fast-forwarding the game time. Yet even after doing this, young Link remained unchanged, standing on the bridge connecting Hyrule Field to the Lost Woods. We then shifted our focus to text dumps, which yielded more evidence against the video's claim. Nowhere did we find any trace of the supposed dialogue in Rusty Sporks' video. The evidence clearly pointed towards the most logical conclusion, that this was all fabricated. The first video showing the dialogue exchange between Link and the Running Man was more than likely created on an edited ROM, perhaps using something as basic as a hexadecimal editor to insert custom lines of text. Several other similar videos, like one from 2009 by a YouTuber named Nikra, were made by inserting custom text this way. Additionally, a YouTuber named Spinout182 initially made a video in 2009 trying to debunk Rusty Sporks. Their conclusion was that Rusty Sporks used a text editor as well. Spinout's video showed them editing the ROM's text in real time to prove just how easily this could be done. Spinout also stated that Ocarina of Time did not track the passing of in-game days in its memory, so this simply couldn't be a trigger for the event that caused young Link to transform into adult Link. Spinout182 wasn't the only person to take aim at Rusty Sporks' videos. A YouTube user named Jeremy Wishengrad also made a few rebuttals back in 2011. Jeremy retreaded a bit of the same ground as Spinout182, including the tidbit about the game not tracking the passing of in-game days in the RAM, but also added that there was no indication in the game's code that Link could instantly transform between his young and adult versions, outside of the intended mechanic where you place or remove the Master Sword from the pedestal of time. Jeremy then went a step further and played around with the debug ROM code of Ocarina of Time using the debug controls to actually complete the race in 0 seconds. The Running Man still said he beat Link by a second, and when displaying his best time using the debug options, the time actually read back as 000/. That's because Ocarina of Time bases its text characters off of ASCII, and in ASCII, the character for 0 is encoded by the number 48. When the Running Man says he beat you by 1 second, it subtracts 1 from 48 to get 47. The 47 in ASCII produces a slash, which is why it displays like that. At this point, it should be clear that the video of beating the Running Man posted by Rusty Sporks is not legit, but what about their Sky Temple video? As we stated earlier, it's completely possible to get under the ice in Zora's domain, but the cave down there is just a dead end. So where does this Sky Temple area come from? All you have to do is boot up your copy of Ocarina of Time, make your way to the entrance of the Sacred Forest Meadow as either young or adult Link, and drop a bomb in the center of the first open area. You'll open up a hole to a secret grotto, the exact same one featured in the Rusty Sporks video. If all this physical evidence isn't enough to satisfy your doubts, then perhaps a statement from somebody very integral to the creation of Ocarina of Time will sway your opinion. In an interview with Famitsu back in November of 1999, Ocarina of Time's producer Shigeru Miyamoto stated, "The Running Man has no significance in the game. He is mainly to train you to move around faster. However, there is something you can do while racing which can change something in the game. It is not much, but it is very rewarding. I'm not sure if our friends overseas have found this yet, but definitely I have known about Japanese players finding this extra secret. I'm not sure why many people have not found it yet, because it is a simple thing to find out." This quote is a fan translation of the supposed interview, and unfortunately, we have yet to track down a copy of the issue with Miyamoto's remark, so it's best to take this information with a grain of salt. Yet there is a bit of truth to it. Racing against the Running Man does not have a significant impact on the game's outcome, nor does his side quest reward you with something out of the ordinary, and whether you race him or not will not impact the ending in any way. But there is something involving the Running Man that can slightly alter a segment of the ending credits. As young Link, you can undertake a side quest with a happy mask salesman. Your objective is to purchase masks from the vendor at his shop in town, and then find customers out in Hyrule who are willing to buy them. It just so happens one of these potential buyers is the Running Man. When you finally get the bunny hood, you can track down the Running Man in Hyrule Field. He'll be jogging at a slow pace, and when he finally stops for a breather, you can sell the bunny hood to him. After that, he'll blaze across Hyrule Field like a madman, which will in turn alter the ending credits. In a sequence showing the inhabitants of Hyrule celebrating at Lon Lon Ranch, you can see the Running Man in a shot. Depending on your interactions with him in the game, he'll either be walking or running around with the bunny hood. Nintendo declined to comment further on the matter, which means all there is to go on at present in the way of an official statement is this lone quote attributed to Shigeru Miyamoto, which remains unconfirmed. After reviewing all of the evidence, it's pretty much open and shut. The reports from those who claim to have beaten the Running Man in the commemorative race are merely hoaxes produced by a few mischievous fans trying to get a rise out of the community. It's simply not possible in any version, including the enhanced port Ocarina of Time 3D, released in 2011. File this one under case closed.